Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy YBP Gang, YBP Nation, YBP Boxing, YBP MMA. And today I'm coming at y'all with what I think UFC 300 should look like. There's been a lot of discussion. I've seen a lot of Twitter threads or whatever you call it. It's like it's a thread. It's like a post. Like they're posting like what they think the card should look like. I've seen Instagram. Shout out to MMA Theory. A bunch of other creators been showing, what they think should be on UFC 300. So I thought I should chip in, except I'm going to do it on YouTube. Doing a whole video about it. So here are the matches that I think should be on the card. Some honorable mentions that I was just trying to keep it to 15 fights. So, and I might have, honestly, it could be 16. I ain't even count, but I tried to keep it to, 15, 16 range. I was kind of getting overboard, but some matches that I missed were Edson Barboza and Josh Emmett. I thought that would be a really cool matchup. So that's an honorable mention right there. And then the other matchup was Chris Weidman and Gerald Meerschaert. With the coverage that they've been giving Chris Weidman with the return series that they have on ESPN Plus and all the stuff coming with him, even though he did lose to Brad Tavares, I thought Gerald Meerschaert would be a cool return fight that he could come back to and possibly get a win in the middleweight division. But on to the main event of what I think UFC 300 should be is it couldn't be anyone else, man. It's the Mac. It's Conor McGregor, the King of Ireland, going up against Michael Chandler. A lot to talk about here, though, because Conor McGregor, we saw at the Anthony Joshua out of Wallin event. He was talking to one of those guys. I don't know his name, but I see him doing a lot of interviews at Talk Sport. He was saying like, "Oh, I'm tired of the UFC. I'm mad at what they're not giving me a fight at UFC 300, and just mad at that whole situation." So, like I said, this is a dream card. This is not like realistic because honestly, it's looking like Conor McGregor is not going to headline the card. They're going to go with someone else, and they're going to do. Maybe have Conor McGregor fight at 301 or 302 or 303. And we've also seen Michael Chandler. It looks like his patience is wearing. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to fight Conor McGregor anymore. It seems like he's kind of tired of this. He's been waiting. He hasn't fought since 2022. He's kind of growing impatient with the whole situation that's going on. He's calling out Nate Diaz. He's looking at other fights. And honestly, the Conor McGregor, that's going to be a big payday. It's going to be a big pay-per-view. It's going to be a massive one. But how long until you're ultimately hurting yourself and, wasting your prime and not fighting? There's no reason why Chandler couldn't have. Obviously, Guillermo's going to fight RDA, but I was like, hey, man, if Conor's not going to fight, and if not going to fight you, you could just go fight Guillermo, fight RDA, fight any of these up-and-coming guys. Not really up-and-coming, but guys that are in around your weight class. Okay, I'm talking too fast. Not around your, vicinity in the rankings. You know what I mean? So, not necessarily a big name, but something to keep you active. Some people that have, a similar skill set to you, you might lose, but at least you're staying active. At least you're putting yourself out there, and at least you're still, in the eyes of the fans, an active guy who they can be like, oh, shoot, that was Michael Chandler. He just fought. So, you can always count on him for a big fight, but kind of going on a tangent. But big point is, this is a really good fight. I mean, when the idea was initially brought up, it was Conor McGregor coming back against a very beatable guy. Very entertaining guy, Michael Chandler. Great matchup. It'll make for a good fight, and it'll be a good soft landing for Conor McGregor. But now, I don't even know how in shape he is. This fight might have to take place at 185. So, I would like to see it. This is my dream card, by the way, but I'm just saying, realistically, I don't expect this to. Maybe I'll make a future video talking about what the realistic UFC 300, but I don't think this will happen. But I would love to see it happen. Next one, co-main event, we have Khamzat Chimaev versus Israel Adesanya. This is a fight that I do think will happen. Very realistic. Something that 100%. If it doesn't happen, I'd be surprised. The only thing that could get in the way of this is Alex Pereira fighting Israel Adesanya. But I think Pereira's probably gonna fight Jamal Hill next, or what's it called, Tom Aspinall. The rumors are really strong. The Adesanya fight makes sense, but Khamzat and Adesanya, that fight is just so perfect, man. You can hear the excitement in my voice. I don't know if you can, but the grappling exchanges, that would be so interesting. Seeing if Chimaev could get Adesanya to the ground, seeing if he could submit him in the first round, and then what happens if Chimaev can't finish Adesanya in the first round, what's going to happen in rounds 2, rounds 3. So those two styles colliding, they're two big names, two of the biggest names in the middleweight division, two interesting styles colliding. Too big now. They're gonna trash talk. They're gonna get under each other's skin. And I think it would just be it's a fight that needs to happen. It has to happen. Like, if they both retire and they never fight, it would be a shame, So I think it has to happen. Co-main event. You could even make this the main event if Conor and McGregor weren't there. This could main event over a title fight. That's the magnitude of this fight. That's how big this is. And I'd love to see it at UFC 300. Next fight, we have heavyweight title bout, Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. Now, me personally, I don't know if I necessarily want to see the fight, because Alex Pereira has so many disadvantages. He's 205 champ, moving up to 265. That's the weight limit. Going up against, a way heavier guy, a guy who honestly, Tom Aspinall moves like a middleweight, but he's a heavyweight. He hits super hard. He's one of the most well-rounded guys we've seen at heavyweight in history. I mean, the striking's off the charts. The grappling is crazy. We know Pereira's had some deficiencies in the grappling department. Even though he does have Glover Teixeira in his corner, Aspinall's going to test him there. The size difference would be crazy. So many disadvantages in this fight for Alex Pereira. I'd love to see him pull it off. It would be a spectacle. Alex Pereira would be the first guy to be a 3-division champ if he was able to pull it off. It's a fun fight. It's a fantasy matchup. But when you just look at it like just concrete, put that scenario into perspective, like realistically, Tom Aspinall's gonna smash Pereira. But on paper, it's an interesting fight. I've seen the rumors, Alex Pereira saying, I think he said 3 + 30 = 300 or something, something like that. And then Tom Aspinall is like chipping in with his rumors and adding to the fire. But if they had to put it together, I'd like it. Not the fight itself, but just the spectacle, just seeing if Pereira could pull it off. But the actual fight, I don't think would be too competitive. But hey, why not, man? Why not? Jones is not going to be there. Aspinall has said that he doesn't want to fight Cyril Gane. Curtis Blades and Jailton Almeida are fighting each other, so they're not going to be available. So it'll be an interesting fight. So it'll be interesting to see how Pereira approaches it. But ultimately, I think Aspinall just runs through Pereira. But you never know in MMA. I'd like to see Pereira get a shot at being a 3-division champion. Just see how it goes. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta click play and just watch how it plays out. Next one. This is a fight I want to see. I think it'll happen. I think it'll it just makes all the sense in the world. I got number 1 contenders lightweight fight. We have Charles Oliveira going up against Arman Tsarukyan. This is just an amazing fight, man. You have Charles Oliveira. He just got done finishing Beneil Dariush. And we just saw what Arman Tsarukyan did to Beneil Dariush. Both fights in which I thought would be a lot closer. I thought they would be a lot more tightly contested. So let's put those two guys together to really earn their title shot. I think my biggest criticism with Charles Oliveira jumping right into a rematch with Islam is that I don't want to see Islam. Now, if it makes sense, it makes sense, but I don't want to see Islam constantly, his whole resume, just be rematch. We've seen him fight Volk twice. He would be going into, it would be another Charles fight. I want to see him fight different people. I want to see Islam fight Justin Gaethje. Now, we can debate, okay, Islam's going to run through Justin Gaethje. We saw what Khabib did to him, but guess what, guys? Khabib and Islam are two different people. We have to see how he does against. We can't just write off let's see Islam and Poirier. Let's see all these fights play out. Let's see Islam and Arman Tsarukyan. Let's see him against different guys. I think that's the beauty of being a champion, is fighting different styles, seeing how the longevity and seeing how you can, keep the belt against different guys. If Islam beats 10 guys, if he beats 10 Charles Oliveira's 10 times in a row, I can never look at that as more impressive than if he goes and beats 10 different styles. Even if they're not on the caliber of Charles Oliveira, that's 10 different styles that he has to prepare for 10 different times. And just that's what makes someone a mixed martial artist, not a singular style artist. You know what I mean? You're just preparing to fight one style. But like I said, I want to see Charles Oliveira truly earn his title shot, get 2 wins, 2 big wins. So there's no denial that he's the next guy up. He's the guy who can be able or will be able to beat Islam Makhachev, not just throw him back in there. So let Islam fight Gaethje and let Charles Oliveira fight Arman Tsarukyan. I think it's an interesting stylistic matchup. Charles, he's probably going to have the striking advantage. Power, up until the Beneil Dariush fight, I didn't even know that Arman had power, honestly. I think that was more of a placement thing. He did a similar thing to what Umar Nurmagomedov did in the when he fought Harney Barcelos. Like, he went up with the knee and then cut him with the right hook at the end of it. So it was kind of like a thing where, I mean, Arman probably hits hard. I mean, he has big muscles, but we haven't really seen that in his other fights. He's been more of a position guy, and even on the feet, he's not really striking too much. We haven't seen that, like, one-punch power. But you catch someone off guard, like, those shots hurt, and those shots will put people down. So, yeah, and then Charles, it's just very interesting. I think Arman could be able to, hold Charles down and really keep him in certain positions, make him pay. So it's a 50-50 fight. It's a close fight, I think. I don't know who I'd pick in that matchup, and that's why I think it should be on 300. It's an amazing fight. Next one, women's flyweight title fight. Women's flyweight title fight, okay. Zhang Wei Li versus Alexa Grasso. Personally, honestly, I mean, these are two divisions where I think, okay, so Alexa Grasso fights in, Zhang Wei Li's a strawweight. Yeah, there's a ton of, I mean, she could fight. I feel like Alexa Grasso's division is pretty interesting, so I don't know if, like, I want to necessarily see her, or see Zhang Wei Li move up to her weight class, and I don't think this needs to happen, but it's a fun fight. It's a historic fight, seeing a champ versus champ thing, and it's two really good, well-rounded champs, especially Zhang Wei Li, and I think I'd love to see Zhang Wei Li and Tatiana Suarez, but if she could beat Tatiana Suarez and then make this happen, that would be ideal. But seeing these two come together, I've seen a lot of people throwing out. I've seen these two talk to each other, saying that they wanna get it going, like, get the fight. And I don't know what Dana said, but I'm sure he'd be opposed to it. But I'm saying dream card, champ versus champ matchup, I wouldn't be opposed to that, man. That would be really interesting. I'd probably favor actually the Zhang Wei Li, even though she's lighter in the matchup. She's just so well-rounded. She's so good at a lot of things in the cage. But it'll be interesting. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think size parity I would heavily favor Zhang Wei Li, but then her moving up, that makes things a little more interesting. But yeah, great fight all around. Yeah, I don't know. Just really good. Next one, we got a main card opener, Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz. Really good stylistic matchup. You got two boxers out there. I saw Michael Chandler calling out Nate Diaz, and I seen some people, like, be really, like, just really love the idea over, like, him fighting Dustin Poirier. Like, they're just opposed to it. Like, Michael Chandler's a way better fight for Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz should go after that one instead of Dustin Poirier. But I think this is a cool matchup in itself, too. You got two boxers. They do a lot of the same stuff. It would just be interesting. They've both been talking back and forth. I don't know how serious Nate Diaz is about fighting at UFC 300, but if the UFC can get him back, I think they already have him under contract. Or I don't know how that works, but if they can sign him back, get him back in the UFC for one more fight, one fight contract, 2-fight contract, get him up against Dustin Poirier. I think this is the perfect fight for Dustin Poirier. If he doesn't want to, because he said he doesn't want to fight, he publicly ducked Beneil Dariush, man. That was crazy. He didn't want to fight him. And he, honestly, I mean, we seen Beneil Dariush has had, like, a rough patch, man. Maybe he could have went out there and beat him. Very weird by Poirier, man. But, yeah, I mean, he's publicly ducked those type of guys. So he doesn't want to fight up-and-comers. He wants to have those big fights or title fights or fights that will get him to the title. And honestly, if he were to fight Arman, I've seen a lot of people suggest that matchup. If he were to fight him, you can't guarantee that fight would get him to a title, because there's Charles Oliveira waiting in the wings. There's Justin Gaethje. So that kind of he'd maybe have to fight one more, and then you're coming off of a knockout loss. So he's in a weird spot. I think this would put him in the limelight again. It keeps him in another big fight, and it gets the fans talking about him again. Maybe he can get a knockout here. And Nate Diaz, I mean, this is a really good stylistic matchup for him. If he can keep the pressure, just keep doing what he's doing, maybe he can pull off the upside. I don't know. But yeah, main card opener. It's like a 7-fight main card, I think. So next one, we got this fight already got announced, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's a cool fight. Alexander Rakic and Yuri Prochazka. Alexander Rakic, he was looking pretty good in the Jan Blachowicz fight before his leg snapped. And then Yuri Prochazka, we just saw him got knocked out by Alex Pereira. So if Yuri was able to win this fight, maybe we could see him back in there with Alex Pereira if he gets this one and then maybe another one down the line. And then Rakic, he's been a guy who's been trying to knock on the door of a contendership. Now that Jan's kind of out of the picture, losing to Pereira, maybe he can make a run at the title. Beat Yuri Prochazka. And then, but light heavyweight's so weird, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. Because then you have Jamal Hill, who is kind of like how do you say, Quinn? He's kind of in the Quinn right now because they've promised him a title shot upon return. But then you have Magomed Ankalaev. If he beats a guy like Johnny Walker, how do you deny him at this point? And then Rakic with a win against Yuri Prochazka. It's messed up at the top. So Pereira's going to have a lot of options, a lot of people. And then there's Izzy. Izzy makes it really bad. I mean, he really throws a wrench into things. So it's going to be tough for Rakic and even Yuri to get back to a title shot. But really cool fight. Just a good litmus test for both to see where they are in the division and really dictate their futures in the UFC. Next one, we got flyweight #1 Contenders Fight. Manel Kape versus Kai Kara-France. This fight is not gone now. This is the matchup that I created. Now I do understand that Kape has a fight against Nicolau, but he already fought. I think he already fought Nicolau. And I think he's a -200 favorite in the matchup that they have coming up. And I think he'll do it. He might even finish him in this matchup that they have coming up. He's already beaten him before. He should get the job done again. And then we can rebook this fight that was supposed to happen at 290. I forgot what it was. Was it 290, 293? I don't know what it was, but Kai Kara-France had to pull out. We saw Manel Kape go up against Felipe Dos Santos. I think he's part of the shootbox thing. It was a competitive fight. It was interesting. But I'd love to see Manel Kape in these big fights. They seem to have beef. We saw him, Daniel Cormier had to pull the mic off him because he was saying some crazy stuff. But there's beef there. He was even beefing with Izzy, so it's run deep. Now it's not just Kai Kara-France, it's with the whole city kickboxing team. So they all got a problem with him. Manel Kape's got all this. He wants all the smoke with everyone. He's an exciting contender. He's a guy he's willing to talk. He's willing to talk trash. He's willing to make things interesting. I think that's what flyweight needs. Pantoja, he's a humble guy. He's winning the fights, but we need some guy who has like that fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's really gonna bring excitement to flyweight fights because it's already hard that they're. It's really hard that they're really small. People don't want to watch those lighter weight classes. So we need someone who's going to bring excitement in different types of ways, whether it's in the ring, or in the octagon, or outside the cage with the trash talking. So I like what Manel Kape's bringing. I think it'll be a really good matchup. I think the winner of that, because Moreno's going to fight Albazi. Kind of weird with that situation because if Moreno wins, I don't know if you throw him necessarily right into a title shot. But if Albazi wins, you got to hope that he wins. If Albazi wins, easy. Throw him into a title shot. But, next one, welcome to Featherweight. The fight's already official. I'm kind of on the fence of let me say who's fighting. Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. Kind of on the fence about who's going to win. Aljamain Sterling's one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighters out there. It sucked to see him lose against Sugar Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean? That was a sad moment. I had my head down for a little bit. That was crazy what happened right there. But I think Aljo, he'll be back. I'm gonna be, but taking my bias out of it. Because I'm a huge Aljo fan. Like this is a tough matchup because Kattar has some decent takedown defense, and he's fire on the feet, man. You know what he can do. I would have loved to see the Arnold Allen fight. That would have answered a lot of questions. That knee injury, I think, could be beneficial to Aljo. I don't want to say it like that, but maybe that could hinder Kattar's takedown defense. Maybe it'll be a little less nimble, stuff like that. So maybe Aljamain Sterling can take advantage of that. So a lot of stuff we have to see, a lot of answers from both sides. How is Aljo going to respond, after getting knocked out in the way he did? Is he going to be more aggressive with the wrestling, seeing as, he didn't push the action in that first round, which I thought he would. I thought he'd, from the first round, like a guy like Merab would. That's a big reason why I think Merab will be champ, given the opportunity against O'Malley, Cheeto, because he pushes the action. He doesn't wait. And I think he beats Cejudo too. But that's besides the point. Aljo, he is a little bit different of a style. He can strike a little bit too, but he's really huge for the weight class. But he didn't press the action. So is he going to go in there? Is he really going to get in front of Kattar, shoot the takedowns immediately, put on the pressure? Or is he going to let Kattar kind of get into the fight and, potentially get knocked out? I think it'll be a 3-round fight. So it'll be interesting to see. And also Kattar coming back from the knee injury, how is he going to look? Is he going to be, back to his old self? Maybe knocking on the door of contendership. So it's a good fight. I think it's both guys who need answers in their careers, who need to find where they belong and like what the next step in their career will be. And I think it'll answer both those questions by the end of the night or by the end of their fight. So really good matchup. Next one, we got a bantamweight grudge match, a rematch that I'd love to see. Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz. I know he called for Figgy, but I think that's a step too high. Honestly, I think this is the perfect fight. Dominic Cruz, he's notoriously inactive. I don't know why he just... Oh, well, he did just get knocked out, but I think... Didn't he just... Before the knockout, I think he... Didn't he have a... He must have had a fight after he got knocked out, though, I thought. But... I don't know. I think this fight's really good. You know, we're seeing Cody Garbrandt's having a little bit of a career resurgence. He's a big name still. Fans want to see him succeed. They want to see him keep going. That Brian Kelleher fight was big for him, man. And then Dominic Cruz, we know he has the movement. We know he has just a lot of tools in his arsenal. He's a crafty veteran. He's still ranked in the division. So that would be an opportunity for Cody Garbrandt to get into the rankings against the guy he's already beaten. And it gives Dominic Cruz an opportunity to avenge his loss that he had to Cody Garbrandt. That was a pretty much like, he just got dominated. Like, that was bad, you know. But, I mean, it works from both angles. You know, Dominic Cruz, he wants to get that win back, and Cody Garbrandt gives him an opportunity to get into the rankings and potentially fight for a belt. So, it's really good. The trash talk will be good. See, the problem with this, though, is like, I mean, I've stacked the card. My problem with, like, I know fans, they're always like, oh, I want a really stacked card. But, like, when you have a card like this, it's like, I low-key want to see Cody Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz at a press conference talking trash. But you can't really see it because, I mean, look at the main card. It's like 7 fights that I've stacked that are, like, insanely good. So that'll be interesting to see. Media day will be big. But at the end of the day, we love the press conferences. We love the theatrics before the fight. But we come for the fights. And I think this will make it for a really good fight in the bantamweight division. Next one, we got a veterans fight. Yes, I'm giving Tony Ferguson one last chance, one last fight. He said he wants to keep fighting. I know Dana White said that he wants to see him out of the sport. He wants to see him abolished. Nah, he didn't say all that, but he said that he didn't want to see him, you know, fighting again. He wanted to see him retired. Tony Ferguson, no, I'm going to give him one last chance, you know, and I think it'll be big, you know. It's a historic card, UFC 300. Give him one last chance against Clay Guida. A fight that he probably loses, honestly. Clay Guida looks really good. I was thinking about giving him Jim Miller, but that would be even worse. I think he'd get demolished by Jim Miller, but, you know, at least Clay Guida, you know what I mean? He's coming off of a loss. I think he's 2-3. I don't know. He must be like 1-4. I don't know. But he's not on the craziest streak. Granted, he had a really good fight with Joaquim Silva. Lost that, though. But yeah, they're both like really old guys. I think if there's not really anyone in the UFC lightweight division that I think Tony Ferguson could beat, honestly, I don't know who he beats on. I mean, maybe if you give him like Claudio Puelles, but I wanted to give him someone else who's old, who could be considered a veteran, kind of like a Legends fight. So I give him Clay Guida. We'll see what Tony can do. Yeah, that's all I really have for this matchup. Just a last hoorah from both guys. Hopefully they both retire. At least Tony. Gotta be. WMMA Legends Trilogy. Holly Holm and Miesha Tate. I just think it makes sense. I think if you're going to have a women's fight on this card, probably not a title bout necessarily. Have it be two of the biggest names we've seen in women's MMA. Two legends of the game. Two pioneers who helped the sport, especially on the women's side, you know, grow to what it is today. I think it'll make for a good matchup. It doesn't necessarily have to have, like, title contentions on it. I mean, I know Holly probably still wants to get the title, but she just got choked out by MBS, or Mayra Bueno Silva. Even though that did get overturned, I mean, it wasn't by performance-enhancing drug or steroid. It was just like, I think, an ADHD thing. So that's a legitimate loss. That's still, she just got choked out, man. I don't know. So, and then Miesha Tate, she's still doing her thing. So I think it would be cool see them come together, get that fight on, trilogy. And, yeah, maybe one of them calls it a career, but it will make for a really good moment in women's MMA history and just MMA history in general. Next fight, we have a heavyweight bout, Derek Lewis and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Now, me personally, honestly, like, I want to see Derek Lewis fight, like, just like the lower end of heavyweights. Like, I want to see him fight like Rodrigo Nascimento, Let's see. Like those guys, like Carl Williams. I want to see him fight like Waldo Cortez Acosta. I want to see him fight those guys. Those guys who were like kind of skilled, but they're, and I know Derek Lewis is past that, but like I want to see him fight like a Carl Williams would be cool too. Like kind of the caliber, like the guy he just knocked out. He knocked out Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Someone like that who Marcos has this. He has a skill set to beat him. He can wrestle him. He can take him down. He could do stuff like that, and he can strike like well-rounded guys. But they're not elite. You know what I mean? So I want to see him fight guys like that, low key, just stack up the knockouts and stuff. That would be cool. And then if the other guy wins, they could build a name off him, kind of like what happened in the Tuivasa fight. But in this case, Derek Lewis is coming off a really big, or no, he just got dominated by Jailton Almeida. But before that, he was coming off a really big win. That was a huge win. And Jadina Rosenstrike is one of the top guys. He's fought pretty much everyone up there. But he hasn't fought, like, in the, like, as far as a fight that makes sense, he hasn't fought Rosenstrike. He hasn't fought, I think he's fought Volkov. He's fought pretty much everyone there is to fight. I think he hasn't fought Stipe, and he hasn't fought Tom Aspinall. But, so, I mean, Stipe, honestly, that would be a cool comeback fight. But Stipe, it seems like he just wants to fight, like, you know what I mean, like, for the title, or, like, he wants to fight John Jones. He wants to fight those big ones. He doesn't seem like he would come back and risk it against a guy like Derek Lewis. I would suggest that, but it doesn't seem like that's his motive. But I think this is a fight that both guys would take. They're both heavy hitters. There's a potential that, like, it could turn into Ngannou and Derek Lewis. You know, they're just going to stand in front of each other. But I know Rosenstrike wants to get in there, maybe make a run for the title again. I know Derek Lewis, he just wants to, you know, put on a show for the fans again in a knockout. It'll guarantee that. It's a heavyweight banger for a reason. And, yeah. May the best man win. And then last fight, I think that is the last fight. Gimme fight for UFC prospect. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. This fight I didn't have to make this fight. This fight already got announced. As far as what I think about it, I was going to make a video like defending it. I was going to say like Bo Nickel is fighting cans and it's okay. I don't know if I'll make that video anymore, but that's exactly how I feel about it. I think it's perfectly fine. The guy's 5-0. He's, you know, very early in his career. I mean, we saw Sean O'Malley did it. I know he got his, like, people criticized him for it later on. And even when he was doing it, they were like, fight some better guys. Trying to think of a better example, but Bo Nickel, it makes all the sense in the world for him to be fighting a guy like Cody Brundage. And even Cody Brundage, he's perfectly live in here. Like I said, he's my comeback fighter of the year. He was one of my comeback fighters of the year. I think my comeback fighter of the year was Alex Pereira officially, but he was one of them. You know, starting the year, he was on the verge of getting cut, 2 losses. He gets that controversial DQ victory, and then he gets a slam victory against a 6-0 guy. There's no reason why he couldn't do the same thing against another 5-0, a 5-0 Bo Nickel. You know what I'm saying? Let's say Brundage reverses him or something happens, or Bo Nickel he switches onto one of those triangles, the same one that he had on the guy on the Contender series. His name was like, what was his name? What's his name? I don't know his name, but, it was like something Beard. He had him, Donovan Beard, that's his name. He had him in this triangle. He knocked him down, got an ankle pick, knocked him down, threw an overhand right, and then switched over to like a triangle when he was on the bottom. Not the same submission, but there's no reason why Cody Brundage couldn't just pick him up and slam him on his head and knock him out, kind of like what he did against Zach Reese. I think Zach Reese holding on to an arm bar, but Cody Brundage, he's a veteran. He's a guy who's willing to go out there and do anything he needs to do to win. He actually knocked out Tresean Gore, a guy that was scheduled to fight Bo Nickel initially. So he's live for sure. I mean, he could wrestle a little bit. I think he wrestled at the collegiate level. He definitely wrestled in high school. He has heavy hands. He's definitely a better striker than Bo Nickel is. I don't agree with the odds. I mean, they have Bo Nickel as like a minus 1,000. Like, he should be like minus 400, but minus 1,000 is crazy. No, he's actually minus 1,400. I just remembered that. It's minus 1,400, at least on DraftKings. So, no reason, bro. Like, he's so young in his career. I think this is a fine fight for him, a good fight for him. He should win, take him down, ground and pound, you know, do something. But it's a good fight for him to just develop, just keep going with his career. If it was me, though, I think he should have fought like at least Andre Petrosky or Gerald Meerschaert, probably something like that. Cody Brundage, like, But Cody Brundage still gives, that's the same echelon of guy. Like, I think those guys are around the same level. Andre Petroski, though, would have been really cool, though. Especially if they would have matched him up against, before he got knocked out. That would have been a really winnable fight, because Petroski's not, I mean, Bo Nickel and Petroski are pretty comparable, in my opinion, I think. I think we're quickly gonna find out whether Bo Nickel's like a really ultra, like Andre Petroski times 2, or if he's a worse version of him. Because Petroski, he can wrestle, he has good BJJ, his striking's you know what I'm saying. Cardio is really actually pretty bad. Really strong guy, pretty athletic. I know that's a mean comparison, but I think Bo Nickel, that could like very well be his ceiling, and we just don't know it. So, you know, Petroski has some heavy hands too. So I would have loved to see those guys come face to face. Because I think if Bo Nickel's really that guy, like if he has like the ceiling that we think, he would mop the floor with him, because he's just a better version of him. But if he's not and it's a close fight, then like, okay, we could really see that. So that's what I'd like to see, honestly, if Bo Nickel wins the fight. Cody Brundage, I'd love to see, against Cody Brundage, I'd love to see Bo Nickel versus Andre Petroski. I think they're pretty comparable. But, yeah, that's all I really got for y'all today. That's my full card, UFC 300 card, my dream card. Given the fights that have already been scheduled. My main event, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. Co-main event, Hamzat Chimaev, Israel Adesanya. Heavyweight title bout, Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall. Number 1 contenders, lightweight fight, Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan. Women's flyweight title fight, Zhang Weili, Alexa Grasso. Main card opener, Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz. Light heavyweight contenders fight, Yuri Prochazka, Alexander Rakic. Flyweight number 1 contenders fight, Manel Kape, Kai Kara France. Welcome to heavyweight type fight, Aljamain Sterling and Calvin Kattar. Bantamweight grudge match, Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz. Veterans fight, Tony Ferguson, Clay Guida. Women's MMA Legends Trilogy, Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate. Heavyweight banger, Derek Lewis versus Jardine Rosenstrike. And last but not least, a gimme fight for UFC prospect, Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Leave a like on the video, subscribe. Peace out, most. You know what it is.